and wisdom of Jeremy McGrath. They love him here in the Superdome as well as the rest of the country, that's for sure. But I'm sure the favorite is Kevin Windham. The Cajun Cycle Riders giving him an okay right there. But up next, the championship pressure is mounting in the 125 East Division as they go into their stretch run. We'll be back as they'll be on the track when we return. For this week's Honda Close, Ali Seymour, one of those who helped make it happen for Honda. Ali Seymour, the mechanic for Kevin Windham, as we return to New Orleans, giving instructions to his rider, the hometown favorite, as we get set for the 250 main. The Suzuki Last Chance Qualifier results page saw Kyle Lewis and Greg Schnell, a 125 West rider who's made every 250 main in the East, make it out of the LCQ to fill out the 20-rider 250 gate. Jeremy McGrath, this is one of two venues he has never won here. The other is the Los Angeles Coliseum, as we take a look now at the Honda starting lineup. VUILLEMIN, McGrath, with the best winning times out of their qualifying heats. Sebastian Tortelli, Carmichael, LaROCCO. Even Pedro Gonzalez came over from the Arena Cross Wars after he finished up. We're getting set to go. The board is sideways. The main event for the 250s from New Orleans is underway. Jeremy gets bumped. I do believe, though, he got the Yahoo.com Whole Shot Award. And out in front is David VUILLEMIN.
I cannot believe McGrath stayed on two wheels, Art. That was a miracle.
Got bumped hard, and now he's right in a sandwich. Damon Huffman. Jeremy McGrath to the inside, moves into second place. It is a battle of Yamahas out front.
And that was close, too. He was going up and down while Huffman was doing the opposite. He's flying right next to Huffman's rear wheel.
Carmichael moved past Huffman at the same time now, and Carmichael is in third behind Jeremy. You'll see him in the picture of the green bike.
That was a big pass for Carmichael, and Kevin just did it right behind him. So the top four top guns in this race, the guys that were expected to be out front in contention to win this race, they're running 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at Jeremy getting bumped right there. I don't know how he did it.
That's a tough way to get $1,000 on the Yahoo.com Whole Shot Award. He got bumped over the line.
He was an inch from going off the racetrack.
And so you see, number 934, David VUILLEMIN, who doesn't give up leads easily. Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, Kevin Windham, and there's Mike LaROCCO battling with number 20, Damon Huffman.
I always bring up Tampa last year when Kevin was sitting back there in fourth. He stayed in contention. He didn't have any pressure on him. He could survey the situation, much like Jeremy did in the heat race tonight, and take advantage towards the end. He's in contention. And two of the riders in front of him are the same guys. The only guy missing here is Lust. He's been replaced by VUILLEMIN.
LaROCCO, Huffman, Dowdy having a fight right behind him, John Dowd. There you see Windham and Carmichael.
These guys are starting to lose a little bit of time to VUILLEMIN and McGrath.
And there's VUILLEMIN and McGrath going through the whoops.
McGrath has got a faster line here and there. VUILLEMIN's going to have to keep this pushing, or else Jeremy's going to find a way by. And I talked to a lot of people after the practice, and they felt like the track was a little bit one line. We saw that that's not true in the heat race. So if Jeremy gets close enough, he can take advantage. However, I felt like watching VUILLEMIN in practice, Art, that if he was able to get the whole shot, he could run away, even from McGrath. But McGrath is tight in the screws here. This is where he's making his time. He jumps up onto that plateau. It's the same thing that Ron Cotta did in the 125 class. And Carmichael right behind him has gone off the racetrack, so Windham picks up third.
So it's VUILLEMIN and McGrath in a bang-bang shootout. VUILLEMIN with 3 wins, 10 podiums, 4 whole shots. Has led 47 laps coming into this race compared to McGrath's 155 laps led. 8 wins and 11 podiums. It's been a terrific first full 250 rookie year for this 934, let me tell you. But all of his accomplishments this year will be forgotten if he wins in Las Vegas.
That's right.
And pockets that $500,000 for the Vans Triple Crown. That's a reason why you have to see the closed circuit, or I should say the direct TV pay-per-view live broadcast from Las Vegas on May 6th.
He's holding his own right now, keeping McGrath back there. Let's take a look at what happened to Carmichael. Approaching the triple, he went off the track a little earlier, regrouped nice. He's back on the track now. He's jumping the triple into the corner, so he's back up to speed. He didn't lose any ground, really, other than just getting passed by Kevin Wyndham, but he is unaffected by that crash. I mean, by just going off the racetrack. Luckily, he didn't fall. His
self-imposed assignment for the rest of the season is to get on the podium. Well, he's one spot away from it as we go back to our leader, David VUILLEMIN. VUILLEMIN looking very smooth as always. So far has not made a crucial mistake with 15 laps to go. So we got the length of a 125 race to go. Can VUILLEMIN hold on?
So far, so good. He's been able to open up a little bit of a lead over McGrath now. And I'll tell you what, I think just like Wyndham last week in Dallas, when VUILLEMIN started catching him, it was the moment of truth. Could Kevin reach back and answer the challenge? And he did. And he broke the spirit of VUILLEMIN. I mean, VUILLEMIN right now has the same opportunity to do it to McGrath. Doesn't happen very often.
Right now, the closest battle on the track is a little bit further back. Huffman and Tortelli. Huffman number 20 and Tortelli of Team Honda number 21. They're in the battle for 6th.
Huffman's had a pretty good season. He had a couple of nice finishes up the top 5 before he had that problem in practice in St. Louis. And if it hadn't been for that one little mistake there, he'd have a pretty good series going.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Pontiac, too, where he got his only podium of the year, came back with a whole shot in Atlanta. Those are the 2 races you're talking about.
He's making some mistakes right there, and that's letting Tortelli climb right back in there and stick a wheel in. Believe me, when you're Huffman and you see that red front fender coming, you know it. You get your foot up there and out of the way.
Sebastian Tortelli, in a good learning year, gets a little bump right there.
Yeah, he's not going to like that any longer. Huffman saw that happening and just went slow to try to block it and cuts all the way across in front of him right now. The problem with this is that Dowd is catching these guys because they're messing with each other.
Bar to bar, Damon Huffman still with the good angle. Damon Huffman just shaking his head as Tortelli, number 21, moves up another notch into 6th place.
Well, what Huffman was trying to do there was just hold him off, but he was blocking him so bad. These guys both, the pace is so slow, they won't have any chance of ever catching LaROCCO and moving up. Plus, they got Larry Ward and John Dowd closing. Watch Huffman, he looks over in the air. He knows that this time he cannot move over because Tortelli is right there. Finally, Tortelli gets around, but I know he's frustrated because these guys gave up about 4 seconds that last lap.
And it's back to our leader, who is holding his own. The interval between 1st and 2nd place, David, has not changed that much.
No, it hasn't. Jeremy hasn't been able to close, but McGrath is smart, he's patient. You heard him in the heat race afterwards say, I just had to stay back there, use my smarts, figure out where I could make that pass, and he's close enough to VUILLEMIN to figure out, let's see, he's taking the inside there, the outside there, and figure out what his move is going to be later in the race. When they get into lappers, usually this gap will close slightly. Plus he's the one applying the pressure.
Coming into the race, he had a 28-point lead. If it stays the same, it's down to a 1-race lead, 25, Davey Coombs.
I'll tell you what impresses me about VUILLEMIN. It's his corner speed. That's the thing we talk about a lot with the European riders. Tortelli has it outdoors, but VUILLEMIN on this really tough track with the blue groove is going through the corners faster than McGrath.
Absolutely right, Davey. He's able to search for just that right section of dirt, cut off the sections where the berm is blown out and goes wide. He's able to hit the berm early, cut out, and hit it again in the end to get that traction to hook up and motor down the straightaway, and McGrath is starting to follow those lines.
VUILLEMIN, our leader. As the laps run down, look at Jeremy McGRATH. He's starting to inch up just a little bit. VUILLEMIN has never been out of the top 6 this year. A great accomplishment for a rookie 250 rider. He went to the GPs last year to ride a 250, even though he still could have ridden a 125 in the World Championship Series. but he wanted the experience so that he could come back to America here in Supercross. Jeremy McGrath, getting ever so close now, has stepped it up more than one notch.
Well, at the same time he stepped it up, he's got a better line over there at the approach to the triple I talked about. He made up some time there. Plus, they're getting into these lappers, and Vuillemin is visually frustrated.
Well, it was VUILLEMIN, remember, that took advantage of the lappers on Jeremy McGrath. So maybe turnabout fair play between these Yamaha riders. David VUILLEMIN on a team Yamaha, and of course Jeremy McGrath on the Chaparral, the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha.
Look at that blue flag right there. There's officials all over the track waving that. That means for the slower riders that are being lapped, leaders are coming. Get out of the way. McGrath was able to close up. VUILLEMIN was able to open that back up another few bike lengths.
Right in front of the leaders is our helmet cam and Heath Voss, number 33, on the Privateer Honda. There you see it.
That view is about to change.
It'll be interesting to see which side they're going to go around. There's that tabletop they clear that you mentioned, David.
See him look over and out of the way. This is where McGrath was making his time. He was going wide. This time he follows VUILLEMIN. I think Heath was a little bit in the line Jeremy wanted to take, so he couldn't set up just right for it. And he didn't lose time.
8 laps to go, and VUILLEMIN is proving to be a terrific, terrific competitor here.
This is where you have to have nerves of steel. Draw upon all those times when you have been able to pull it off before. This is also the part of the race where you start to get tired. It's hot in here. It's muggy. The sweat starts to drip down in your goggles. You can't see as good. You got that number 1 breathing down your neck. This is going to be a tough race.
I don't think 2 Frenchmen have won in one evening in one venue, because Pichon really didn't have a Frenchman up in the 250s when he was running so well in the 125s. But if VUILLEMIN can hold him off, we got Roncada and VUILLEMIN winning here. And how appropriate is it in New Orleans?
That would be something.
It's not over yet, though.
No, McGrath does not want that points lead to shrink anymore.
McGrath wants his first win ever in New Orleans. This is the first race ever for VUILLEMIN in New Orleans.
Look at that. The way those guys just float through the air. They got so much time up there to relax a little bit, think, look at the corner ahead of them, sometimes glance over to see who they're going to be lapping next.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath. Banging. McGrath to the inside. Takes the lead on VUILLEMIN. He looks back. David's not going to let him get away. He's going to try his hardest to retake the lead. Here comes VUILLEMIN.
That was a mistake. McGrath overjumped that plateau. The front wheel dropped off the other side. He wasn't able to hop the next jump. A rare mistake.
Oh, we're coming down to the finish. It'll be a great one between Yamahas.
His front wheel just dropped over the edge. He wasn't able to get the drive to clear the jump. VUILLEMIN does it perfect. Downsides that, triples into the corner just to make sure Jeremy doesn't have any opportunity to get back on him in that next corner.
But number 934, David VUILLEMIN, after retaking the lead, has held on to it. But Jeremy McGrath is not that far away.
You just rarely see McGrath push at this point in the race. Approaching lap 16, McGrath usually has a pretty good lead, or he's crashing the first turn and he's done an excellent job to get all the way back up near the podium. But this situation doesn't happen hardly ever. I can think of Tampa, I can think of Phoenix this year, and both times he wasn't able to win the race.
VUILLEMIN cannot afford one mistake, or McGrath will take advantage of it. And you're right, David. Nerves of steel right now as the Frenchman takes that corner fast.
Yes, he does. That's that corner speed Davey talked about. And a mistake by VUILLEMIN right there allows Jeremy to close back up slightly, although VUILLEMIN has pulled away farther than I expected, Art. He is is opening that gap even more. It looks like Jeremy has backed off his pace slightly or lost his focus because he's losing even more time.
At this time in the race as well, it takes conditioning. Let's go down to Davy Coombs.
Hypothetical question for you guys. Imagine this were Las Vegas and it was truly $500,000 on the line. I think this is a good test of David VUILLEMIN's nerves. I think he's got a shot at that prize.
Absolutely. I mean, he had all the pressure. He made a mistake. McGrath overtook him, and he kept the pressure on. Obviously, it was on McGrath's mind for McGrath to go in and make that mistake right afterwards and allow VUILLEMIN to get back around.
And don't forget, Supercross fans, that will be live, direct television, pay-per-view from Las Vegas. Don't miss it.
These guys have pulled away so far from Wyndham, I can't even believe it. I think some the momentum that Wyndham had, he lost in the heat race when he fell.
At least he's in line for a podium in third place. Ricky CARMICHAEL, even though he had a tough time earlier, is coming back into fourth.
Kevin and Ricky, though, are 13 and 19 seconds back.
Trying to get around Tortelli is David VUILLEMIN.
Tortelli's running ninth. That gives you an idea. VUILLEMIN is really working his way up into the field. Larry Ward's next.
Be smart. His wrencher's going to put out the board.
Look at all these lapped riders he's got to work his way through. McGrath may have a shot at him yet. He's going to need a little bit of help.
And VUILLEMIN hold on for his fourth victory of the year. If he does, he would on the white flag lap now, the final lap. Can he hold him off? He would be getting close to the last rookies to get 5 wins, and they both did it in 1990. And I'm talking about Bradshaw and Jean-Michel Bayle, one of the heroes of David VUILLEMIN. Bob Hanna got 6 wins in his very first year of 250 action. Of course, McGrath is the leader there with 10. Damon Huffman in front of the leader.
It looks
I didn't think I would be saying that.
Unless VUILLEMIN crashes, he's got this one in the bag. McGrath knew that a couple of laps ago. You could just see it in his posture. He's going, you know, I gave it everything I had. The guy's on tonight. Second ain't bad. I'll hang on to a race lead.
David VUILLEMIN approaches the checkers. They just got the flag out in time. David VUILLEMIN wins his 4th race of the year, beating Jeremy McGrath and holding him off brilliantly through many, many laps.
What an accomplishment.
Steve Butler, who also prepares Jeremy McGrath's machine. There's Jeremy. The two are very good friends.
Jeremy's shaking his head going, well, I got to hand it to you, David. You can just see it. He knows he was beaten and gave it everything he had. VUILLEMIN was on tonight. It looked like that in practice.
VUILLEMIN sending a kiss to his mom and dad up in the stands. And there's Jeremy talking things over with Steve Butler. You know, VUILLEMIN voiced his respect of Jeremy McGrath early in the season. And that picture just told us the mutual respect between the two.
Absolutely. I think if VUILLEMIN were to be blowing his horn a little bit and not making those comments of respect for McGrath when he did beat him a couple of weeks in a row, Jeremy would have picked up on that and just hated the guy and wanted to beat him even more. But here he really respects it, and he able to smile even though he's been beaten.
This is also the 12th win of the season for a rider on a Yamaha, which equals the best year ever for Yamaha in Supercross back in 1980. That was right after Bob Hanna got injured, and look at VUILLEMIN celebrate.
He is such a showman. You know, we see a lot of that, all the tricks and things that Pastrana does in that 125 class, and VUILLEMIN, look at that display of just awesome balance right there. He's a showman just like Pastrana, but his personality is a little bit more mellow, so sometimes he gets overlooked.
But he is such a great competitor, as is Travis Pastrana. So 2 Frenchmen walk away with the big trophy here in New Orleans here tonight.
David, you must be the happiest man in New Orleans. You just went out there 20 laps straight up. You beat Jeremy, but man, in the middle, it was tight.
Yeah, me also, I was tight because I knew Jeremy was behind me. You know, he's the best Supercross rider in the world. And so I was really tight because he was pressuring me, and But I did a little mistake. He passed me. I did not jump the triple before the finish line. And he made a mistake also. And I knew he was tired a little bit because it's pretty hot in the stadium. And I just tried to ride safe and smooth. So it was good tonight. And hopefully it can work because it was a race also.
I know in Las Vegas there's going to be a lot on the line, $500 million in the band's Triple Crown. If it's that kind of race, do you think the pressure will get to you at all?
No, I don't think so. You know, I ride for the points and for the championship, you know. The money is good, but I just want to put my Yamaha up front and just ride smooth. I don't think about the money.
I tell you what, it was a fantastic job tonight, and also great tricks after the win.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David.
Well, you don't hear that in many sports. Racing for the glory, not the cash, as David VUILLEMIN has beaten Jeremy McGrath here in a tremendous race. As we take a look at the Honda results page, VUILLEMIN, McGrath, and Windham on the podium. So the local Louisianan makes the podium, getting that number 3rd spot with Carmichael back in 4th, LaROCCO in 5th. John Dowd, Huffman, Tortelli, Ward, and Thomas, the Iron Man, making the top 10.
That's awesome. Anytime you can ride both classes, all that riding, and still finish in the top 10, just it's not even riding skill really, it's just stamina to be able to stay up there. And looking at Jeremy and VUILLEMIN, it was one mistake apiece, but it was I think Jeremy right now is kicking himself. That one mistake he made cost him the win. I think he could have held on had he not made that one.
It's obvious that VUILLEMIN is ready to take advantage of that mistake and make the move very quickly and decisively. Let's go back down to Davey.
Jared, from the first turn on, that looked like a tough race for you. First of all, how in the world did you stay up at that point?
Well, I came in really hot, just like I did in the heat race. I kind of choose to start a little bit outside because the one time I started inside and VUILLEMIN beat me out of the gate, he shut me off hard. So rather than get in the mix there, I'd rather just try and outbrake everyone. And I was pulling a road race 2-wheel drift coming in the first corner, that's for sure.
Later on, you got in front of VUILLEMIN, but then you made a mistake, and that cost you the win.
Yeah, David was riding a fast pace. You know, our bikes are working good. My Mazda Chaparral Yamaha is working great. And I got him over here, and I came around to this corner and jumped up on the tabletop, and I jumped a little bit too far. I was a little excited when I passed him. And rather than take the chance to jump off and case the jump and take a risk of going over the bars, I chose to hit the brakes and be a little more safe. And I thought I could get right close to him again and pass him, but it was really hot inside here, really humid, and such a fast pace. It was tough. I mean, granted, a few lappers got in the way when I was close towards the end, but hats off to him. He rode a great race.
Jeremy McGrath, a graceful loser. And as we take a look now at the Suzuki points list, it's tightening up a bit as Jeremy McGrath has a 1-race lead with 2 races left. The maximum number of points for a win is 25. So VUILLEMIN's got his work cut out for him, but David, it looks like he might need a little help, though, as far as the championship is concerned.
Right. Well, the championship is never decided until you've actually got it in hand. I remember leading series by quite a large margin, and even more than a race lead, having people tell me, oh, you got it. And I'm thinking, no, I don't have it. I could get hurt, jam my thumb, twist my ankle during the week.